Right now, the story we've been talking about all day long, and so many of you are watching just to see. DeAngelo Williams says the Panthers are cutting him loose.
But tonight, in our exclusive conversation, it's what else he says that might stick with you about his deep disappointment with the Panthers' top management. That part of the story all new tonight at 11 o'clock.
I'm not doing any interviews outside of this one about them releasing me.
We met Saturday morning in a place no one would see him talking, our WBTV helicopter hangar. DeAngelo was very clear. No matter what the Panthers are publicly saying about possible ongoing talks, he will be gone from the team.
They called me in February 16th at about 2 o'clock. Me and Coach Rivera and Dave Gettleman, we sat down, and he told me, he said, the fact of the matter is we're going to have to release you. And I said, well, you know, why? And he said, well, because we don't run the ball enough to keep you and Bo Stu, so we're going to release you. And I said, okay, fine.
Were you led to believe there would be more conversations after that?
It never came to me like that.
The release isn't a major surprise.
I'll be 32 this year, and I'm, 9 years in the game, so I kind of knew the writing was on the wall.
Do you think that what's happening to you is deja vu from last year, what happened to Steve Smith?
No. I know that they told me to my face that they were going to release me.
He says he felt like the face-to-face was a big honor. Only he also says he was completely cool with being cut.
I've seen guys leave there teary-eyed, crying, and when he said they was releasing me, it didn't do any of that.
I asked what his mom would think about his piece at leaving the only team he has ever played for.
She's probably smiling at me right now.
And this is where our conversation took a turn. DeAngelo's mom, Sandra Hill, died of breast cancer last May. He has made it his mission to promote breast cancer awareness, even helping turn the NFL pink in October because of her. The Panthers showcased DeAngelo's mom every October. He and I have emceed Susan G. Komen's Charlotte Race for the Cure for years and years. Anyone who knows anything about DeAngelo Williams knows her death impacted him hugely.
But I'm really curious as to what the Panthers did for you when suddenly you had this huge void in your life.
When she died, I called Coach Rivera. I was like, Coach Rivera, she just took her last breath. She's gone. And Coach Rivera said, man, I'm sorry to hear that. And right after that, Dave Gettleman called. He was like, man, we're praying for you. I was like, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That was the end. That was it. Nobody came to the funeral. The owner didn't reach out.
DeAngelo Williams says owner Jerry Richardson did and said nothing until weeks later after the funeral. It came after DeAngelo had written an article for Sports Illustrated on his mother's last days.
So I wrote the article. I come back and there's a letter from the owner saying, I read this story. It's a really nice love story between a son and his mom. That was it.
He calls it extremely disappointing, but says Jerry Richardson did apologize to him in July, months later during training camp.
I was so upset with Carolina because for the last 5 or 6 years, during October, she was celebrated. But then when she's no longer here, let's move on.
And you're not just saying this now because they're releasing you.
I'm not saying this now because they're releasing me. And in fact, I probably wouldn't even brought it up had you not asked me. But it stung to know that a place of business that you've worked for and that you've bled, you've played through injuries, you did everything you possibly can for this organization to be successful. And then upon your darkest hour, they let you handle it by yourself.
Now, did any players come to his mom's funeral?
One player came.
To your funeral, to your mom's funeral?
Absolutely.
In Arkansas?
Yes, and there's nothing that he could say or do in my eyes that are bad.
Let me guess.
Go ahead.
Greg Hardy.
Absolutely. Greg Hardy was there. All the players around the league, all the players in the locker room, they text and call, but Greg Hardy showed up.
DeAngelo has 2 daughters, a 4-year-old and a 14-month-old.
Ball isn't life. Family and faith is.
That's a statement he tweeted Saturday morning right before our conversation. So what's next for the career-leading rusher for the Carolina Panthers?
There's no way I can end my career with the season that I had last year. So I'm going to keep going.
Where?
Have no idea. I have no idea.
Are you disappointed about your season?
Very disappointed.
Are you disappointed you're being released?
I'm not disappointed that I'm being released. And that's what bothers me, is I feel like I should.
Ultimately, DeAngelo says he knows business is business, and no matter how things went down last May, he has loved his time on the Panthers field.
In that locker room, coaching staff and everything, you know, my hat's off to them. They're going to do some big things.
Tonight, the Panthers tell me DeAngelo is still technically on the team. A spokesman says, quote, "We don't know when it will be official. DeAngelo Williams will be released. He has not been released yet." DeAngelo says he would like to retire with the Panthers, and that was offered to him. He also says because of what happened to him with his mother's funeral, there is now a policy in place for how the Panthers organization should react to a loved one's death. I'm working to get even more of our interview on WBTV.com. When it is up, we will post that extra video on the website.
Great interview, Molly.